It says, and these are the garments which you shall make: a breastplate and an ephod and a robe and a broidered coat and a mitre. And a mitre. I dare anybody, I dare any black Hebrew Israelite to show me ancient archaeology of a turban or mitre having an opening at the top. Give me an ancient source, a written source, literary work, or archaeology. You can't do it. On the contrary, there's archaeology and ancient primary sources saying there were no openings upon the mitre. What is wrong with you guys today? What?
Guys, my teacher said Jesus was white, and I said, where do you find that in the Bible?
My friend said that the rainbow stands for gay people. I said in the Bible, it says for God not flooding the earth again.
Right!
When I dropped volume 1, it was basic. It did the job. It was simple. It was an introduction to the truth. It planted the seed. But now, it's time to really build the kingdom.
Yahweh smiled and said, Yahweh wants us to listen to our parents, love them, and help them.
Amen.
The promised land wasn't in Africa or the Americans. It was the land of Israel, a gift from Yahweh to his chosen people.
Yeah, we're not from here. We're from Israel.
The weapon is here. Volume 3, Volume 2. These are not just books. These are weapons. These are shields of defense so that your children can maneuver and navigate through life in sports, in school, and social circles that try to indoctrinate them and intimidate them by false doctrine and whitewashed Christianity.
The kingdom of heaven will not be a place where everyone is equal.
So cool.
It will be the time when Yahweh exalts his chosen people, the Israelites, above all nations of the earth.
Yahweh, the son of Yahweh, loved to teach his people one day, he and his friends. Isn't that so cool?
Yeah, well, how is shy?
His people one day, he and his friends, who were all Israelites.
Go to www.genesis144.com. You'll spend $49 on McDonald's and a video game. But this might be what saves your child's soul, or at least helps them fight for it. So let's practice less bedtime stories and more battle strategy. Christianity has Sunday school. We have kingdom training. God hates hats. Head coverings explained. I say that as I'm wearing a hat. Let's start this off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father Yahweh. We do so by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. That means all praise to the Most High in the name of his only begotten Son in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. What's going on, everybody? It's Priest Sakai, aka Deacon Genesis, big G's, not the little ones, here to feed the little ones, y'all. And we're going to talk about this controversial topic, especially, well, it's not controversial, only in the Israelite community is this controversial. Christians, I can say on this one, Christians have a better understanding than Israelites on this matter, for sure. Do you know, like how Christians will take a part of the Bible where the blessing is only for Israelites, and they'll say, no, that's for everybody. Israelites do the same thing with the head covering. This is only an issue in Corinth, not in the other churches. They take that and say, no, this is for everybody, and Paul is law, and it's crazy. So let's get right into it, y'all. God hates hats. Head coverings explained.
What's the story with head coverings in Corinth? Why does Paul tell the women to cover their heads when they pray, but then tell the men to uncover their heads when they pray? In this week's video, we're on site in Corinth looking for answers to these questions.
Oh, they're in Corinth.
We'll look at possible reasons why both the Corinthian women and the men.
You see that? I want you guys to see that statue. So they're at Corinth right now. And you'll see in this Greek province that men were wearing veils. They weren't even hats. Like, this was a veil. Men were veiling themselves. We're going to get the scholarly sources on this and show you, even in the Greek, when Paul's what Paul is saying in the context, it's a veil, not a damn snapback. Okay, so it's a man wearing a fitted hat.
And we're confused.
I said man wearing a fitted hat. Man wearing a veil.
About this. And we'll ask the question, what implications does it have for us today? Stay tuned to find out.
Now, I'm not going to watch this whole video. I just wanted you guys to see that, right? I wanted you guys to see that and just hear that, because sometimes you got to hear it from the white man before you listen to me. So in 1 Corinthians 11, there's a whole issue about praying or prophesying with your head covered, starting at verse 4. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. Now watch this. When you go to this Greek word, we're going to show you that it means veil here, but I'm just going to read some more. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her own head, for that is even all as if she were shaven, right? Now, watch this though. Let's go down here. And it says in verse 15, but if the woman have long hair, give her a covering. The key is verse 16 is, but if any man seem to be contentious, meaning if somebody wants to debate this, we have no such custom, neither the churches of God. What is Paul saying here? Anybody can look this up. Also, matter of fact, let me do this for the slow folks. Let's do it for the slow folks. Look at the other translations. It says, but if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the other churches. Then it says, but if anyone seems to be contentious, but if anyone wants to argue about this, I simply say that we have no other custom than this, and neither do God's other churches. If anyone wants to be contentious about this, we have no other practice, nor do the churches of God. If anyone is inclined to be contentious, we have no such practice, nor do the churches of God. If anyone wants to argue about this, we have no other custom. You guys get it, right? It's a custom. It's a practice. So for an Israelite, not that you Christians, you got it right. I applaud you Christians on this one. You guys got it right. But for an Israelite to come, and I'm not even speaking to the Jewish community, even they get this right. And they don't even believe in the New Testament. But for Black Hebrew Israelites to come and say that this is a law and that Paul is making it a law, you are accusing Paul of committing a sin, because you cannot add to Torah and make a Torah law and make something a sin that's not in the law. Sin is the transgression of the law. But either way, Paul's not doing that. You Black Israelites are doing this. Paul says this is not a law, but a practice, a custom. And he's saying that this is only a custom in Corinth. So if somebody wants to debate you, you're going to get smashed on it, because it's only in Corinth and it's not a law, it's a custom. Drop a bomb.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching.
Now, this Greek word, it means to cover or to veil, right? It's, I don't know how you say it, katakalupto. Katakalupto. That's interesting. And it means veil. So going back here, it doesn't even mean a hat. So he's saying in Corinth, a man should have his head unveiled. And in Corinth, a woman should have her head veiled. But if somebody wants to debate, this is just a custom at Corinth. It's not a law of Moses. And so let's look at some scholarly work here. This is called Veiling Among Men. Anybody can look this up. Veiling Among Men in Rome, in Roman Corinth. 1 Corinthians 11:4, and potential problem of East meeting West. From Preston T. Massey. This is at Indiana Wesleyan University. All right. And it'll talk about how it's not even talking about hats, but ancient veiling. And then you'll see also here, you'll see some ancient veiling right here. This is a man, more than likely a saint, and he has his head covered. But don't try to say that Paul is guilty of Deuteronomy 4:2. Paul's saying this is a law, which he didn't. Only Israelites are saying that. You guys are saying that he is guilty of Deuteronomy 4:2. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. It's reiterated in Deuteronomy 12:32. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereunto, nor diminish from it. Don't add from the law or take away from the law. Thou shalt not. That would be a sin. If Paul was saying it's a law and it's a sin to have your head covered while praying or prophesying, then Paul would be committing sin by adding to the law, but he's not. He said it's a custom, tradition, practice, and it was only at Corinth, and it wasn't a hat, it was veiling. Now, how do we know that it's not a sin? In Exodus 28, the high priest had to wear a mitre. 28:4, it says, and these are the garments which you shall make: a breastplate and an ephod and a robe and a broidered coat and a mitre. I dare anybody, any black Hebrew Israelite to show me ancient archaeology of a turban or mitre having an opening at the top. Give me an ancient source, a written source, literary work, or archaeology. You can't do it. On the contrary, there's archaeology and ancient primary sources saying there were no openings upon the mitre. What is wrong with you guys today? What is wrong with you guys today? And I know, let me tell you something that the jokes these guys make. Oh, you just want to wear a hat because you're bald. Listen, Elijah was bald. Some of the prophets were bald. They called me the bald-headed nut for a reason. Shout out Sibo. But I have been on camera without a hat on. It's just so fly, this big G matching my big G. So don't make that excuse. I'm saying refute the information without the ad hominems. You understand that? So there is ancient, I'm gonna give you guys a few sources, right? Just look up the priestly turban. You'll get some ancient sources, and also look up on Bible Hub about the turban and its inscription. You'll get some ancient sources, right? Based on historical descriptions, it's very highly unlikely that ancient Hebrew turbans had an opening at the top. The priestly turban worn by high priests was described as broad, flat-topped turban, resembling the blossom of a flower. Other priests wore a cone-shaped turban, which was a wound around the head. These designs suggest that the turbans were fully wrapped and enclosed rather than having openings. Here goes the dagger. Additionally, the gold plate inscribed with the words "Holy to the Lord Yahweh" was attached to the high priest's turban using blue cords that went over the top of the head, further indicating that the turban was covered rather than open. And I'll debate it live. 2 Samuel 15, King David prays and worships with his head covered. 2 Samuel 15:30, and David went up, and it says he only committed one sin, and that was with Uriah the Hittite. It sent on the Mount Olive, and he wept, and his head covered, and he went barefoot, and all the people and their heads covered, and they went up weeping, and one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. David said, "O Lord, I pray thee, turn to the council." So he's praying and worshiping with his head covered. And it came to pass that David, when he has come to the top of the mountain where he worshiped, and he meet him, he had earth on his head. So stop playing these games. Also, Ezekiel 24:17, it talks about a mitre as well. So no, God doesn't hate hats. If you want to wear one, wear it. If you don't want to, don't wear it. But let's not add to the law, because that is a sin, to add to the law, my friends. So head coverings explained. We're going to end this by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. And we on to the next. Shalom.